Invite our sister. Oh, she's already here. So now introduce yourself since you're already out here. Have this
Ma. Praise the Lord. Praise the living Jesus. I'm excited to be among you all today. Thank you for inviting me. I came all the way from Alabama. Although I had to come for something here yesterday, but I used the opportunity when mommy told me that she wanted me to come and talk about nutrition. So my name is Opeyemi Fijabi, and I finished my master's in nutrition in 2021 from the University of Alabama. I had my bachelor's in Nigeria earlier on, and I actually practiced in Nigeria as a registered dietitian for a couple of years before I came to the US. I'm currently working on getting my registered dietitian certification in the US, so that way I'm also able to practice in hospitals and all. But I'm very excited because this is something that I love to talk about, and looking at it from a balanced perspective, because as I said, I've worked in Nigeria and I also work here. I currently work with WIC, for many of us that know WIC, Women, Infants and Children. So I deal a lot with mothers, talking to them about nutrition for their children and things like that. So I'm excited to be here. I'm married and I have a daughter. I think that's a little about me, just to know. So we can go ahead. Let me know when the lights is up. Okay. Okay, just wanted to be sure that it's working. So principles of healthy eating. I called it principles because it's not a one size fits all approach. I know we all have different preferences. We are probably here from different cultures. Some people might, we all have different foods and all. So, but we can all apply the principles regardless of our background, regardless of what we love or what we don't love. All right. So, I don't know if you've heard about these two quotes. You are what you eat. Okay. And does anybody, I know there's no much time, but what do you think that quote means? You are what you eat. Okay, please, can you give her the mic, man? Thank you.
I'm sorry, I was just saying, if you eat too much, you get big, and if you eat less, you get smaller.
Okay, thank you so much. Yes, okay, someone else. Yes, ma, can go ahead.
Your diet determines who you are.
Thank you so much, ma. We are all correct. Our diet, our body our, lifestyle, the way we eat, what we eat, all determines, our composition. Now, let me give you a little story. I love to tell stories, and I also like to listen to stories or people's experiences. So, when I practiced in Nigeria, we had a scale, but it was called a body composition monitor. So you can stand on it, and it will tell you, of course, your weight, but it will also tell you how many percentage, fat you have in your body, how many percentage muscle, things like that. So when people come and, we talk together, okay, what can I improve on in my diet? Then we'll tell them to come back again in the next 2 or 3 months. And really, if they do, what we talk about, they'll see improvement, and they'll be like, wow, this thing is actually true. Like, so it's actually true. Our body is a reflection of, what we've been eating over the years. Now, that is not to say that we don't have different, physiques, right? Not everybody is small. Not everybody is, large. We all have different physiques. But I tell people, regardless of your physique, however God made you, you can still eat healthy. As long as your body composition, you're healthy and everything, your BMI, everything is like within what it should be. So I'm not favoring, people to be slim, not necessarily. But this is just letting us see that, you are a reflection of what you eat. Another quote I had on the slide says, let your food be your medicine and your medicine be your food. Maybe we've not heard about that, but what it means also is that your food can be therapeutic, right? Your food can also more like be a poison. So if you are eating right, it's like medicine to your body. But if you are not eating right, it can go the other way. So you should let your food be therapeutic, medicinal for you, something that will make you feel healthy, not the other way. Now, a story I usually like to tell about this is that because I work, sometimes I'm also schooling, sometimes I'm a little stressed up, and I work with a lot of children and also I get exposed to, so if I see that I'm getting to maybe have like, cough, cold, catarrh, I know, okay, my immunity is getting a little low. I tell my husband and he's like, oh, go and make that your zobo now. That your zobo, let me tell you about it. So I make zobo. We all know zobo, which is like sorrel leaves, for some of us who might not know it. Then I put ginger, garlic, I put lemon, I put some other things, I boil it, then I make it like in a drink, and then I drink it. Usually it works for me and my daughter because we're the one who usually, he has a pretty stable immunity. But I'm just letting you see that what you eat can impact your health a great deal. Now, to the next one, it says that, this is the last quote, the greatest gift you can give to your family is a healthy you. Think about it as women, you have to take care of probably the family. If you are not healthy yourself, then where do you get the strength to do that? So sometimes, the reason I say this is that sometimes women tend to neglect themselves. You feel like, oh, I'm taking care of all the other people. Oh, everybody else, you want to eat fruits and vegetables, you don't eat it. You just buy things for other people. Please, I don't want us to, it's not being selfish, but it is also knowing that you have to be healthy to be able to take care of others. And if you are not healthy, if you have a disease or something that you have to manage, then it's more like a liability to people around you. You have to then depend on them to take care of you. Probably be more expensive to manage. So in the long run, it's not sustainable. So I want us to always remember to give yourself priority. Eat well. Don't only encourage your family members to eat well. And then the Bible says, my people perish, Hosea chapter 4, verse 6. My people perish for lack of knowledge. That is not God's desire for us. And like our panelists said earlier on, 3 John chapter 2, when they read it, I was like, oh, I'm glad they read it. The Bible says that it desires that we should be in health, even as our soul prospers, right? So that means God desires our spiritual prosperity of our soul, of our spirit. He desires our physical prosperity. He also desires our emotional prosperity. So, health is not just physical. It's like a reflection of all parts of our human being, or, all parts of us as human beings. And then lastly, I'm talking about a pastor. I wanted to mention a pastor who died young because he had unhealthy eating habits. Just think about it. If he had eaten healthy, if he had managed himself, think about our pastor, Pastor W.F. Kumuyi. He's 80 years old, more than 80 years old, and he's still strong. I know many of us may not have access to it, but if you look at what he's eating, you will see that he's eating healthy. To manage him, to make sure that he's strong, he can fulfill that purpose that God has for him. So this is very important. All right, so let's go. I'll give us a brief info of what I want to talk about today. I'll be talking about the principles, and then I'll mention some other tips that I just have noticed that is important that women think about it. Many of the things I'm sharing here, I'm not only somebody who say, do as I say, not as I do. Many of these I practice myself. So you can ask me any questions. You can start to write down your questions. And then we'll also have a practical demonstration at the end about how to make granola. All right. So, healthy eating. Healthy eating is just, taking nutritious foods in the right proportion to meet your nutritional needs. Now, why do I say to meet your nutritional needs? Because we all have different, we're all in different phases of our life. Someone who is probably an adolescent, or someone who is pregnant, or someone who is breastfeeding, or someone who is probably in their early 40s. They're all women, yes, but they have different needs at the time. So healthy eating has to take into consideration that phase of their life, to what is good for you at this point. I know the pastor's wife wanted me to mention about, I know many of us say of the word diet. You're like, oh, some people will even say, oh, I'm on a diet. What does that being on a diet mean? Now, there are different types of diets. We can go, How many of us have heard of the Mediterranean diet? Okay, I see one hand. Okay, two. How many of us have heard of ketogenic diet? Okay, more hands. How many of us have heard of DASH diet? DASH diet. Okay, two. All right, so there are different types of diets, but not all diets are sustainable. That's why if you come to any nutritionist and say, oh, I'm on a ketogenic diet, I will look at you like, do you want to only be eating fat, protein? No, that's not going to be sustainable. You are going to also be stressing some parts of your body, like the kidney. So you want to, seek for advice before you just start on any diet. And that's why it still comes back to the principles. Once you know the principles, you don't need to be on any form of diet. Just follow the principles and you'll be fine. Now, if you see on my slide, I also have therapeutic diets. Now, mommy is in a nursing home. I also know the other the other mommy on the panel they also are in nursing homes. So in the nursing homes, probably people have different diseases or the other. So they have to follow special type of diets. You talk about the low salt diet, talk about low fat diet. But what I've come to talk about us today is, how do you prevent yourself from going into having to live by those diets? Do you understand? How can you prevent it? If you eat healthy, then many times we don't have to have those medical conditions, and then we avoid living, and you live healthy. You don't have to follow any diet for the rest of your life. All right, I just wanted to also clarify that. But I wanted to point out this to you. Now, not all diets are, bad, we'll say. The DASH diet is only an acronym for Dietary Approach to Stop Hypertension, DASH, right? And if you look at the diet, it is mostly vegetables, fruits, whole grains, low fat, dairy, fish, poultry, beans, nuts and seeds, vegetable oils. And then they limit meat, full fat dairy, sugar sweetened beverages like sodas and things like that. And then they also limit salt and sweets. So that is basically the diet. It's just saying eat more of these healthy ones than those other ones. I go to the next diet. It's called Mediterranean diet. It's also similar to it. If you see, it focuses more on whole grains, legumes, fruits, vegetables, herbs and spices, fish, poultry. And then the other ones below, you see red meat. He only said enjoy sparingly, and then it talks about physical activity. So I want to see if we are paying attention. From the DASH diet and the Mediterranean diet, what is common to both of them? Okay, anyone, please, our mic, please. I think a mommy who wants to talk? Okay, thank you, ma.
Limit meat.
Okay, thank you so much. Limiting red meat. What are they emphasizing? Okay, more of whole grains and vegetables. Yes, that's true. So these are usually the diets that research has proven that they really work. So this kind of forms the framework for what I'm talking about today. But before I go right into that, I wanted to acknowledge our cultures. Like I said, we are all from different cultures. We eat different things. Ghanaian, we have any Ghanaians in the house? Yes. We have any Nigerians in the house? Okay. We have any other African countries in the house other than the two ones that I've mentioned? Yes. Okay. Yes. So we all have different things we eat. And there's no way I can say, oh, we'll be eating this one, this one. What if you don't eat that thing? Irrespective of our culture, we can all eat healthy if we apply the principles. Now, let's go to what are exactly those principles. I'm going to show us two different types of plates. You see this plate is half of the plate is what? Fruits and vegetables. More vegetables than fruits, however. And then we have whole grains, healthy protein, water. Water is emphasized as the drink, mostly. And then, that's basically all. And then this is my plate. This is my plate. I'll be talking a little more about this. This is the USDA. That's the United States Department of Agriculture. This is what they say the general population can go with, which I think is very helpful because it's also similar to that one that I showed before. Fruits and vegetables are half of the plates, grains and proteins, and then dairy. So dairy is talking about milk, yogurt, and maybe cheese, which I know. How many of us here eat cheese? Okay, just a few of us. Not everybody likes cheese. Even me, I don't really like it. Once in a while I might, but So you don't have to eat it. Milk and yogurt are also part of dairy. And this is like, okay, this is how your plate should look like. Let's say you want to eat breakfast. Now, let me give an example. So if I want to eat breakfast now, let's assume I want to take oatmeal and milk. Milk is my protein, and I want to put maybe some strawberries or something in there. That's fruits. And then sometimes I know we don't get enough vegetables for breakfast because people are like, which vegetable can I put? But you can also put, there are other types of vegetables like cucumbers, right? You can put cucumbers, you can slice it and put it in your cereal or whatever you are eating. You can eat it by the side, you can eat it. So it's just saying that at every meal, try to get all these food groups in your plate. Do we understand? It's not difficult. Think about it. Okay, what do I want to eat? Rice and beans and stew and fish. Many of us, we only emphasize, say, once there's protein and once you say, okay, rice and fish, or at least you have fish on it. It is balanced, right? I know that's the mentality many of us grew up with, but no, it's not balanced. Where is your vegetable? Where's the fruit? That because all these things that we do, every meal, every day, that's what you're putting into your body. It's like you're hardly getting vegetables, you're hardly getting fruits, right? So let's begin to have a shift of thought of when we have our food in our plates. Ask yourself, where are these 5 food groups on my plate? Now, if you are thinking, how much do I really need? This website here, and I can also provide the slides afterward, is My Plates Plan. You can put in there your age, your sex, your height, your weight, your physical activity level. Because I work mostly with children, my own physical activity, I said less than 30 minutes a day. Maybe I get a little bit more, but if you know you are not very active, you put in there, okay, I'm not very active, so that it won't give you the same for someone who is very active, right? And then I put it there, it gave me about 1,800 kilocalories. Now, you might be like, what's that? What does that mean? But it will give you a plan. And I printed it out for us. So it will tell you this is what you need per day. And then it has a place where you can fill it out and track it. Okay, did I reach my target? Didn't I reach it? And things like that. So it's not difficult like we think. But this is not for everybody. This is for people who maybe you want to lose some weight, or you are just very specific on, or you are not eating enough, and you are like, I want to know what exactly I need. You can go to that website. Okay, so I know we talked about the plate thing. Now, which area do you think that you are not really getting as much? Let's be truthful and sincere with yourself. Which area do you want to improve on? Anybody? Thank you, Ma, for willing to share. Mike, please, for her. Okay. Okay. Vegetables and fruit. Thank you so much for that. Anyone else? Something you notice you're not probably... Okay, Ma. Sir, there's a hand here. Okay. Did we all hear her? She wants to improve on her physical activity level. Probably she feels like she's not getting enough as she should every day. Thank you. When I did this self-appraisal for myself, I think my own was also vegetables and dairy. So I do pretty much good with fruits. I get fruits for the most part. But vegetables, I'm being more intentional about my vegetables now. Sometimes I eat it as a snack. Even if I don't have time maybe to eat it with my food, I incorporate it into my food. So I don't want to just give this presentation and we all go back home and we still do the same things. I want you to think about what can I change in my current, eating habits. All right. So now I'm going to begin to take each of these food groups one by one and talk about them. I'm starting with fruits. Fruits. All of us know fruits. I don't even need to talk about fruits. But the truth is that how many of us actually eat? If we say we eat a fruit with every meal, how many of us eat maybe at least eat fruit 3 times or more in a day? I'm not saying we should raise up our hand, just saying, think about it. So that is how much you need. Maybe even more, But how can you then incorporate to eat more fruit? Have it at home, always. If you go to the grocery store, make sure that you buy a particular, whatever your favorite fruit is, always stock the house with it. I know sometimes we have these baskets that we can put in front of our center or dining tables where we can put bananas, apples, and things like that. Put the fruits there so you can see. At least sometimes we say out of sight is out of mind. If you want to put it in the refrigerator, you can put it there. But don't put it in the area of the refrigerator where you won't even remember that it's there until it has rotten there. Because, so put it where you can see. Also, another thing that I do is sometimes I buy fruits in bulk when they are cheap, and then I freeze them. So if I feel maybe blueberries or so, the other day, a family invited us to come and pick blueberries with my daughter. She was very excited. And then we had a lot of blueberries. So I put them in the freezer. And then when we want to make smoothies, we just put the blueberries there. I always put a banana with my fruit smoothie because banana is very sweet. So you don't even need to add any other sugar or anything. Just put a banana and put other fruits there. And you can even put your vegetables. That's also how I get my vegetables. I put cucumbers. Because sometimes I don't like to eat cucumbers. You can put carrots. You can put different things in your smoothie. And then that's a way to eat it. Also, tell yourself, whenever I want to eat, I must always have a fruit with it. An apple, a banana, a kiwi, think about any type of, a cup of strawberries and things like that. I want to have it with my fruit. So now, my exercise here for you, I want to get you thinking, which fruits have you never tried before? You always see it at the store, but you're like, I don't know how this is going to taste. I don't know how this is going to taste. And just one response, and then we'll go. Dragon fruits. Okay, so that's true. I've not had that before. And by the time I go to the store next time, I'll try to check it out and have it. So we say that we can incorporate more fruit. It's not hard. It's just being intentional about it. Now, let's go to vegetables. Vegetables. Sometimes we only think of, especially some of us are African, we only think of vegetable when we do what? When we eat, swallow, right? Let's think of, vegetable when I eat, swallow. But sometimes when we're eating, you can eat rice. There's nothing you cannot put vegetables in. I want you to begin to have a rethink. Like this is eggs. You see that, I don't know if this has a pointer or something, but you see that egg omelette right there. They put in some spinach there. It doesn't alter the taste. I've done it myself. And it comes out really nice. I know I've gotten that vegetable in there. You can have carrots and peanut butter as a snack if you don't like to have it by itself. Or maybe you do cucumbers, slices, and peanut butter or something. You can put sweet corn and cook it with beans, right? To be like beans and corn. You can do, if you cook jollof rice or fried rice, some of us only put vegetables in fried rice. Why not also put it in jollof rice? You want to cook any form of rice, try to look for vegetables. That's why that's mixed vegetables. I always make sure I don't run out of it in my freezer. It's there. So if I need I'm cooking anything, no matter what you're cooking, you can put a little in your food, So let's think about how we can, include more vegetables. Put it in your smoothies. Try to make sure that every day, which of the vegetables do I want to eat today? 3 servings, okay. And then you go to eat. Now I've talked about fruits and vegetables. I want to go to the next one on the plate, which is grains. Grains is also like our carbohydrates. Many of us don't have an issue with this in terms of the quantity, right? I feel like most of us get it. We eat rice, bread, we get it. But the thing is, what type of carbohydrates are you eating? We have the whole grains and the refined grains, and I'll explain the difference to you. The whole grains are the ones that have not been processed. It's like the way you harvested it from the plants or from the soil. That's how you are eating it. So think about brown rice, or some of us call it ofada rice. Think about oatmeal. Think about those things that have not really been processed. It's like how they harvested it. That's how you're eating it. But when you now think about wheat too, right? Wheat. But think about the refined ones are the ones that have processed. So they've removed when you think about white flour, white bread, white rice, and all those kind of things have been refined in one way or the other. Now, when they refine it, what they do is that, let me show you this. They remove the fiber around it, which also removes some of the vitamins it has, and then it then makes it more processed to the white rice. Now, am I saying we should not eat white rice? No, never. I can never stop eating white rice, right? But whenever you eat white rice, you know it has been processed though. So what can I do? I can incorporate more vegetables in it to kind of counter the effect of the processing, right? Myself. And you can also look for how can I incorporate more whole grains into my diet. Now, I did this a little some weeks ago, I think, or some months ago. I said, I always like this bread. If I look at the bread, the back of the bread, I see that it only has maybe 1 gram of fiber. And I said, I wanted to get bread that has a little bit more fiber, which is whole grain. Then I tried all those different types. I had some that I didn't like. I was like, no, I won't buy this one again. I don't like the taste. And then I bought this one. I was like, oh, this is not bad. I think I bought one. They made it with oat flour, whole grains, 12 grains, something like that. So you can experiment with your food. How can I get in more fiber? All this little here and there. They say a grain of rice, or what do they say? A little drops of water makes a mighty ocean. So think about it. We're always buying white bread at home. We can start to incorporate more whole grain. You don't have to buy wheat. I know not everybody likes the taste of it, but look at what you can incorporate there. Some people only do regular spaghetti. How many of us has tried the whole grain spaghetti before? Oh, awesome. Yeah, so you see, whole grain spaghetti, the only difference is probably it might be a little darker in color, right? But the taste is not very different. I also tried it when I was doing my experiment, and I was like, this is not a bad idea. So whenever I buy spaghetti, I don't only buy the white one, I buy the whole grain one. All right, so let's go to protein. We've talked about fruits, vegetables, grains. Now protein. I'm going to spend a little bit more time on the protein. Why? Because protein, especially the type of protein you do and the way you process it impacts if it's going to benefit you or not. Our mommy the other side said that those other diets were limiting red meats, right? They were all focusing on fish, chicken, but less red meat. So we have other types of protein that people don't know, or maybe they don't remember. Beans is a protein, right? Tofu. How many of us know tofu? Yes, tofu is like, if you are from Nigeria, they call it wara beske. I don't know if you know it. Like, they make it with soybeans, and then they grind it, and then they like put water or something to make it, they drain out the water. You can do it like meat. Sometimes I buy it from the store, and then I cut it into small pieces, and then I can season it a little bit with maybe some seasonings, and then I put it in the air fryer, or I even just boil it and use it as meat sometimes. So it's not every time only meat. Think about other sources of protein. Peanut butter is a protein as well. Eggs, is a protein. So limit frying, especially for fish and meat. Because many people say, oh, fish is healthy. Let me eat fish. But they do what? They fry the fish. When you are frying the fish, it's like you are counteracting the effect of what you are doing. I'll still come to frying and I'll explain better. But try to eat more chicken, fish, and then the people that talk about heart health, they say you should try to eat fish at least twice a week for optimal heart health, because fish has the good fat, which is the monounsaturated and polyunsaturated fat. That is good for the heart. While the other types of meat, like red meat, they have the saturated fat, which is the one that is bad for the heart. So they say try to incorporate more fish into your diet. The other day I was thinking about it. I said, it's like I'm reducing my fish intake. I now have to look for how to incorporate it though. Then I thought about it. Okay, maybe I'll put some of it with my bread in the morning, or I'll just buy a little bit more fish too. At least make sure I'm getting that fish twice a week. So you can also think about that and say that. And then something I want to say lastly here is 80-20 principle. Now, this 80-20 principle, you can apply it to anything, nutrition or diet or healthy eating. It is that you should eat healthy 80% of the time. And then 20% is fine if maybe you are on transit or something happened, you had a busy weekend, you couldn't really get on schedule, it was like, okay, you just have to eat what you could get. It's okay. Nobody is saying be 100% perfect and eat all these perfect things all the time, but be making it a habit, right? So eating healthy 80% of the time while you are leaving 20% allowances. But if you still look at it, it's like you're still eating healthy for most of the time. So now let's come to frying. On the picture on the right there, we see the deep fried potatoes, right? The fries. And we see the one that is oven baked. Who can tell me what's the difference? Real quick. Microphone, please. Who wants to talk? Okay, ma.
I involve oil.
Okay.
But oven roasted. There is no oil.
Oil. Okay. Thank you so much, Ma. So if you fry, you are dipping that thing inside oil, right? Of course, it will what's the word now? Absorb oil, right? There's no way, even if you drain it from now to tomorrow, it has already absorbed those oil. Now, when you add oil, if we go back to our science, I know not all of us have science background, but 1 gram of fat has how many calories? 9 calories. Meanwhile, 1 gram of carbohydrate has 4 calories. I'm just trying to let you see that fat has a lot of calories. So you see that this one says the deep fried one has 390 calories, right? And the oven baked one has 98 calories. Calories is just the energy value of food. That means when you eat it, how much energy does it give you? If you continue to eat more energy than what you need, of course, your body will store it as fat, right? So it's like if you want to cut out or reduce your calories, then reduce frying. Do we understand the principle now? So reduce frying. You can get almost the same taste or even better without adding oil. We have oven, we have air fryers. Let's always learn to make use of these things. Also, frying increases trans fat. I don't know if you've heard about trans fat, but many, I'm not going to go into details in that. It's also one of the fats that is bad for the heart. But many of the foods that you buy out there, think about, let me not even mention any restaurant name, but all those popular restaurants where you buy fries and things like that. Which type of oil do you think they're using to fry it? Do you think they are changing the oil after each batch? Okay, I'm glad that we are all being realistic. So you don't know how long they've been using the oil. When they put the oil in high temperature, what happens? The trans fat begins to form. And then it's bad for the heart, especially if you have, that's what you go to most of the time. And then it also increases, this acrylamide is, it's like, especially burnt food or things that you really go through high heat, it forms and increases cancer risk. So you can avoid some of these things by just improving or switching the way that you prepare some of your foods. Now, I've put it there. If you must fry, remember the 80-20 principle. I'm not saying don't fry ever in your life. But if you want to fry, I do fry sometimes. Sometimes I feel like, I just want to eat fried plantain. I feel like eating it. I fry the plantain. I don't put a lot of oil in the pan. And then immediately I fry the plantain. I use the oil for maybe stew or something immediately. I don't keep that oil to continue to use forever or, for a long time for plantain. So think about that whenever you fry things as well. I've talked about fish. I've talked about nuts and seeds. Now, I will give a little story because I see some of us are starting to get dizzy or sleepy. Are we all with me? Okay. So last year, I went to do my physical examination. And they checked my blood. They checked everything. They wanted to see my good cholesterol, bad cholesterol, triglycerides and everything. So then they told me that my good cholesterol, which is, I don't want to confuse us, but there's good cholesterol, there's bad cholesterol. The good cholesterol is the one that helps your body clear all the fats in the body so it doesn't accumulate in your heart and cause heart attack. While the bad cholesterol is the one that is actually accumulating there. So you need a lot of those good ones, they call it HDL, to be able to clear out the fat. Well, to summarize everything, my good cholesterol was not enough. It was low. My bad cholesterol was not high. It was also okay. But I was concerned that how come my good cholesterol is not enough for what it should be? So when the doctor told me, I asked them, what can I do? Of course, I knew too, but I just wanted to also ask their perspective. I said, what can I do to increase my good cholesterol? They told me I could try to eat a little more fish. Remember, fish still comes back to fish. Nuts and seeds, so things like maybe even almonds, whichever nuts you prefer. Now, when you eat nuts, it's not like you should eat a whole jar of them. Just a handful of nuts a day is fine. But you have given your body that good fat that you need. So I bought more nuts. I think I bought cashew nuts. I bought pistachios. I bought those different types I've never even tried before. So if I'm taking like oatmeal or cereal or something, I'll just take one, put it there, eat it together. And then I went back again this year. Guess what? It had improved tremendously. So it's just still pointing back to the fact that you are what you eat. Your body's composition is a reflection of your diet over time. Well, I just wanted that to. Also, I'll still come back to importance of going for your yearly physical examination. Okay, so we go to the last one on that's my plate. Remember that plate? We've talked about fruits, talked about vegetables, we've talked about grains, we've talked about protein. The last one is dairy. Like I said, most of us do probably the milk and yogurt. Dairy is good for calcium, 15. Okay. So dairy is good for calcium, vitamin D, and so many other things we need. But I wanted to point this thing to us to show us the difference. You see the different types of milk, the skim milk, 1% milk, 2% milk, and whole milk. Sometimes many of us think, what is 1% milk? They don't only put 1% milk in that thing and the rest is water. I know that's the way I thought about when I first came to the US, but no, I'll show you the difference. How many grams of protein do they all have? 8 grams. You see, the same gram of protein. What is the difference? The fat. The skim milk has, that means they've removed all the fat completely, 0. The 1% has 2.5. The 2% has 5 grams. And then the whole milk has 8 grams. So that's in a cup has that. So just think about it. And the fat in animals usually is the saturated fat, the one that is bad for the heart. The same for milk, the same for red meat and all those things. So it's good to try to do more of those low-fat milk and low-fat yogurt. So this is a sample of that plate that I was showing us, what it looks like in real life. Personally, eating some rice, vegetables. Avocado is a vegetable as well. Well, some people call it fruit. I had some apple slices there, and then maybe chicken or tofu, I don't know which one that is, and then a cup of milk. So it's not as difficult as we're eating. But like I said, it's not only what you're eating. What are you not eating? You're not eating the nuts, the seeds. You're not eating the vegetables, so you can improve on that. Okay, so I'm just going to talk. I talked about this basically, but also when we cook, what do we cook our foods with? Many of us put like lots of seasoning cubes in the food. We can reduce some of these seasoning cubes. We've all heard that they have MSG, monosodium glutamate, right? You can put crayfish. You can put lots of onions. It's not like you shouldn't use those things at all, but try to reduce them. I use many of these natural things like. If I want to make stew, I try to grate some or blend with the tomatoes and everything. I'll throw some ginger, garlic, and maybe turmeric. Turmeric is that one. I know maybe some of us don't know it, but it's the one that looks like ginger, but it's orange in color. You can throw it in there, and that way you have gotten it. They help to boost your immunity. They have lots of antioxidants. They have many, many, many more benefits like that. So just little here and there, try to see how to incorporate it. And then, like I talked about the zobo, like I talked about tea. You can make use of all these natural teas. It's still better than maybe sodas. Like in the cup of morning, if you boil water, you can put a tea inside, drink that first thing in the morning. Or even if you don't want to drink it with the tea in there, you can drink warm water, right? Many of us don't have the habit of drinking water first thing in the morning. Let's always have it as an habit to drink water because it helps your body kickstart your metabolism for the day. Okay, so now we've talked about, do we all understand that principle of healthy eating, right? It's very easy. Fruits, vegetables, grains, protein, and dairy on every plate as much as you can whenever you're eating. There are some things that we want us to reduce, and I call them SSS. Can we say that after me? Okay. SSS, the first S is sugar, the second S is salt, and the third one is saturated fat. I know I talked briefly about those saturated fat before, but I want to talk about sugar and salt. I don't have all the time, and I want to, but before I go there, if you turn to your program booklet, there's a part that talks about nutrition. Let's see where that is. So it's page 9, yes. So, but before we explain about that, I had a client one time and he told me that every day he was drinking maybe 1 or 2 sodas every day. And maybe from a young age, I can't remember when, then he had type 2 diabetes. And then he said, I didn't know that all this I was drinking every day was going to make me to eventually come down with this. He said, you know what? For my children, never. He said, we're not going to buy that in the house. We take it out of the house. They must not experience the same thing that I experienced. It was more like he was now looking back in retrospect that prevention would have been better than cure, right? So people say, oh, but we need sugar. Of course you need sugar. Remember, carbohydrates break down into your body as what? Sugar. So you're getting sugar. There's no need to load your body with extra sugar. Extra sugar increases our risk of diabetes, heart disease, cardiovascular disease. You'll be surprised. I don't want to go into the details, but the association is that the American Heart Association recommends that added sugar should be limited to 6 tablespoons in women per day and 9 tablespoons in men per day. Now, I want to explain a little bit of this. I want to go to that cola. You might not see it well, but a cup of maybe Coca-Cola. I told mommy to help me bring that. Yep. Yes. Can you bring it for me? Thank you so much. That's 1 cup of either Coca-Cola, whatever the soda may be. This is just what we found. But it has, thank you, ma, 33 grams of sugar. 33 grams of added sugar. That means they added sugar. 1 spoon of sugar, 1 teaspoon of sugar is 4 grams, right? So if we say 33 divided by 4, that's probably about 9 spoons of sugar in this thing, right? So, but I tell people, you wouldn't dissolve 9 teaspoons of sugar and start drinking. How many of us would do that? Dissolve sugar in water and start drinking it because you need energy. But that's what we do when we drink many of these things. Now, I'm just letting us have an understanding that even if you do drink it, it's not something that you should drink on an everyday basis, because you know that you are stressing your body and giving it time, to digest those things. Meanwhile, you could eat other things. Now, I also had the thing, other things that they may not have as much added sugar as that. Juice, sometimes, especially if they say 100% juice. And I'll come to that. The juices, sometimes they want to deceive us, and they will say, this is just also giving us an idea of how much sugar each of those things have. Be mindful of what they say. They say fruit punch made with real fruit juice, right? Many of us see that and you're like, oh, this is good. It's made with real fruit juice. The other one says 100% juice. That means that the only thing they squeezed in there was fruit, right? Now, I'm not saying you should drink anything too much, right? But just letting you know that 1 cup of that one that they said made with real fruit juice had 20 grams of added sugar, close to what this one has. And it's juice, so some people say, shebi it's juice, it's healthy. The other one does not have added sugar, but it has natural sugar from the fruit. Now, if you want to choose, which one would you rather choose? The other one, the natural one, because okay, it's the fruit from the juice. Although we also don't recommend drinking juice too much. Why? Because if you eat the fruits, it's better. When you eat, let's say apple, you get the fiber, all those things you chew. But when you drink apple juice, what do you only get? You only get the sugar. You don't get the fiber from it. So, but at least be mindful of what they say. Don't just be deceived. Some will say, has natural ingredients. In my mind, I'm like, so what? I know you are trying to sell something to me. I turn to the back and I'm like, no, I can't go with this because I saw what you did here. And I'm trying to think about, should I show us now? Yes, but look at that, your food label there. You see where it's in green, it says total sugars, 14 grams on page 9. And then it says includes 8 grams added sugar. That means they added about 2 tablespoons of sugar to whatever this thing is. But you also have to look at the serving size of that thing. So if it is like this one now, they put it there. They said a serving size is 1 can. That means if you drink 1 can of this, you get 33 grams of added sugar. Sometimes they will say a serving size is half can or 1/4 can. So don't always think about what serving size. How much am I drinking? Am I drinking the whole thing? or am I drinking? And then I can know how much I am getting. And by a rule of thumb, if something is 5% or more, it is 5% or less is low in that thing. But if it is 20% or more, it is high in that certain thing. So let's go on. Sugar is what? The first S is sugar. The second one is salt. Let me talk about this salt first. Many of us have a natural propensity for hypertension, blacks. Our body retains salt more than the average white person. And that is just how God made us. So you can't be eating the same amount of salt that they are eating and thinking that you can get through or get by. No, your body is going to accumulate it more, especially if you have it running in your family. That's why you should know your family lineage. Like, I know that both of my parents' line have hypertension. I know. And I've known that from when I was small. So as I was growing up, I always mind my salt. Being careful of what I eat. Many of those microwaved foods, many of the things that are processed, many things you have to put in the microwave or you have to buy from outside, contain a lot of salt, even if they don't taste salty. Do you understand? So a piece of thing, they might say it contains 490 grams. Now, in a day, how much sugar, how much salt do we actually need? We need 2,300 milligrams of sodium, but I wouldn't bore us with that. What it means is a teaspoon of salt. That's how much salt our body needs in a day. Do you think we are getting more than this? Yes, because even if we are eating rice, we could put salt. If we are putting stew. So we already have enough salt from what we cook. Do you understand? From all those, even bread has salt. There's hardly any flour things that doesn't have salt or anything. So imagine if you are eating maybe, imagine maybe a slice of pizza or something. You'll be surprised at how much sodium it has. So just be mindful of this and trying to reduce your things. If you want to buy things that are in the can especially, look for low salt variety or no added salt. They always have those type of things. And that way you can overall reduce your salt intake. For the fat intake now, I'm going to just use this one. Many of us use palm oil, right? Palm oil also has saturated fats. Remember, it's the type of fat that I said is not healthy. So am I saying don't use palm oil? No, I cannot cook my soup without palm oil. But be mindful of how much you're using. You don't have to use a lot of palm oil that you have to see it in the food. No, that's too much. Also, certain foods have oil naturally, like ogbono, egusi. Now, how do you counteract those fats they have? You can add more vegetables. Now, can we see the picture? What's the difference between those two egusi soups? Exactly. One has more vegetable, one has less. They are both saying, oh, I'm eating egusi, but you're actually getting different things from here because at least we know the person that is eating more vegetable, the body uses that vegetable to clear out some of those oils, right? So just be mindful of that. I said there that the vegetables always act like a foam to clean up oil from your body. It cleans up and, kind of has a way of counteracting it. We've talked about this. I'm not going to because our time is gone. But less added sugar as much as possible, less sodium and less saturated fat. Okay. The time that we eat matters. The only thing I want to point out here is that many of us eat irregularly. We eat today in breakfast, tomorrow you don't forget breakfast. Some people skip meals anyhow. No, you are not giving your body a sense of reliability. You know the way we say people need, like children especially, need routines so they know what is going to happen. So also your body needs to have a schedule. If you are not fasting, then why are you skipping meals? Why? Because you make your body think, hey, let me store a lot because I don't know the next time she's going to give me food. No, you want to eat consistently and eat early. Breakfast 7 to 9, lunch 12 to 3, dinner, ideally the earlier the dinner, the better. You don't want to eat dinner too close to when you are sleeping. Now, sometimes we can't avoid it. You come to fellowship or you go to midweek services. What I do, I'll tell myself, I'll say, okay, I'm putting something in my mouth, but I won't eat as much as I would have eaten. I'll now tell my body that, don't worry, I'll eat the rest tomorrow morning. And really, I eat a very large breakfast. I tend to concentrate most of my eating for breakfast and lunch and then eat little dinner at night. And also avoiding grazing all day. Some people just continuously snack. You are not hungry, you snack, you snack. No, have a set time. Okay, I think I ate 2 hours ago. I'm not hungry, or 1 hour ago. If I feel like I want to have a taste of this, maybe just a little crunch, and then I put it back. Just be mindful of it, because the more you snacking, the more you are getting excess calories than what you actually need in that day. Don't load your refrigerator with what you don't want to eat. Don't tempt yourself. You know that Oreos or whatever it is that you cannot resist it. Once you take 1 bite, you must take 10. Then why do you keep buying that thing over and over again? So don't tempt yourself. For women, I think that sometimes a little planning can help us. Just thinking about it. Okay, for the week, what do we want to eat? We want to eat. Just think about it. You don't even have. It doesn't have to be stressful. This week, okay, I want us to eat this. Write it down. And then you can be a little more proactive and more intentional. That way you can get those things in. But when it's like, okay, hey, time is gone, I'm almost going to work. What can I put together? You can't eat a balanced diet like that. So sometimes you might have to pack your lunch pack the night before. So you make sure you are getting all those things. In the weekends, you can portion out your vegetables into small Ziploc bags. I like to have a lot of Ziploc bags so that I can, okay, this is what I want to eat. So even if I'm rushing in the morning, I just throw everything into my bag and I go to lunch. That way I'm eating those things and then I eat less at night. Do we understand? So a little more planning can help us. Also, let's get good sleep. Let's sleep well. Some of us don't sleep well. I know maybe some of us that work at night, but not all of us work at night. Yet some of us sleep late. We don't get enough sleep. Sleep is a way to reduce your stress levels. Please always make sure you get enough sleep. Also thinking about, what do I need? What is it that I'm stressed about now? What can I do? Okay, I just want to have a nap and I'll be fine. Or I just want to go walking, take a walk. Also prioritize yourself for your good emotional and mental health, like I talked about. And then lastly, I'm going to talk about going for medical checkup. I'm sure we've all learned from my experience. You can never know what is going on in your body by the way you feel. When last did we check our blood pressure? Anybody here? Raise up your hand. Okay. Some of us, but not all of us. You should know what your blood pressure is. Do you understand? So that even if you have a propensity to have some things, the doctor can watch you and tell you and say, hey, your blood pressure are getting a little high. Not quite at hypertension, but pre-hypertension. At that time, you can easily tackle it and bring it down if you work on those things. But if you say, oh, I'm not going to check it, I'm fine in Jesus' name, and you use faith for what we shouldn't use faith for, then by the time they notice it, it is already past it, and there's nothing that can be done except to maybe start medications, which medications are good, okay. But there are some things that can be avoided. So let's make sure we always go for all this yearly checkup. And then staying active. We're all trying to work on this. But it's not a lot. You can say, okay, I want to go up the stairs. I want to park a little bit further. I want to get a smartwatch that can tell me how many steps I'm getting in a day. I want to do all these things. Just being intentional about that. So in summary, we can all do more with eating more fruits and vegetables on our plates. We can reduce the SSS. We can stay active, and then we can make sure that we are, being emotionally healthy and all. So think about, what steps do you want to start doing so that you can be a little more healthy. Remember the 80-20 principle that I talked about too. Eat healthy 80% of the time. And it's okay if 20% of the time you don't have, things happen in life. Life happens, like we say. So think about your SMART goal. This is my email address if you have any questions. I know I'm totally out of time. Let me ask Mommy. What's the plan for will it be after, or people should just go through the recipe? I don't know how much time we have. But yes.
Time is up. So
Okay.
what we're going to do is to, as soon as you round off, we go into our interactive session and see how much we have gained. If we're able to do it quickly, then you can still show us that, because we still want to know what you want to show us.
Okay, ma. And even if we don't have time for it, remember on page 10 of your booklet, you see where it says granola. How many of us have eaten granola before? Okay, it's just those things. It has whole wheat, oatmeal, like oats. Remember I said oats is a whole grain, right? Those are the things we want to get more of. And it has nuts and seeds that can help our heart. So you can just make this snack and put in your yogurt, or you can, eat it as it is, or just a little more. And it's just for you to mix it together and put it in the oven. It's not difficult. But in case we don't have time, it's something that we can actually do it for ourselves. All right, I think I will handle. Do we have any question? Maybe one question. All right, okay. Sorry, Ma, I didn't see your hand. Okay, can you please help me give her the mic? Okay, Ma, you be number 2.
Praise the Lord.
Hallelujah.
Thank you so much, and God bless you for opening our eyes on a lot of things. We are praying that God will give us the grace to obey them in Jesus' name. So my question is, if one have a diabetic, is it good for that person because of diabetic? And since you say we should be eating fruit, can diabetic patient eat fruit and sweeteners? And,
Okay.
what exactly is that stereotypic and medication you said about Mediterranean or stuff? Throw more light on it for me, please. Thank you.
Okay, Ma, thank you. So briefly, a diabetic person has to then follow a diabetic diet, which is a little bit similar but different from that plate. And I'm not able to go into all the details right now, but you have to do more. You have to put into account how much energy, how much sugar you are getting from every food. So you can't eat fruits anyhow, no. You have to portion your fruits, but like I said, it has to do more with a one-on-one counseling. But the general thing is diabetic people eat more vegetables than fruits. They still eat fruits, not like they don't eat fruit at all. But they can't eat as much fruit as someone who doesn't have diabetes would eat. Also, for the sweeteners thing, they have different type of sweetener. The sweet natural ones, the artificial ones, so people say saccharin and all. There are a lot of research about it. Some find that it's not the best for the microbiome, like your gut. But if you look at it overall, if you buy the natural ones, they can be better. They can be better substitutes for sugar. So that way, because people still want to enjoy their meals. You don't want to eat something and feel like, hey, it doesn't even have taste, or like, you still want to enjoy your meal. So yes, you can still use some sweeteners. It just depends on the type of sweetener that you are using. Thank you.
So please, I'm sorry, I forget one. I'm sorry, ma. In case, please, like you told us to eat vegetables, and your body don't take vegetables, is there anything you want us to do? Like I eat vegetables, my body reacts to vegetables, and I start running. Is there anything I can do? And I wish to eat it, but whenever I eat it, I'll be running up and down. So what should I do?
Okay, I think you can see me after the program. But usually you just look for how to adapt it to your body. But
okay.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sister. We really appreciate. You talk of mixing fruit together to blend to make a...
Woody.
Yes. But I've once heard it that you cannot mix so much fruit together because of the chemical reaction. I don't know whether this is right.
Okay, so what I'll say to that is, there are a lot of people say a lot of things out there that sometimes if you listen to everybody, you don't even know what to eat or things like that. So I would say that as long as you are mixing it yourself and it's something you have at home, you should be fine.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Then you gave us a list of American fruits here. What of people from Nigeria? Because I'm taking this message to Nigeria.
This is not, I didn't give American foods, not at all.
There
The
are
only
so
time
many
I
fruits we
mentioned
have
American was, which one, ma?
There are so many fruits we have here we don't have there.
Oh, you mean fruits? I thought
Yes,
you said
fruits,
food.
fruits,
Like food.
fruits,
Oh,
fruits.
okay, okay. There are a lot of fruits in Nigeria too. Think about it, bananas, pears, the local pears, apples, agbalumo, what do you say? Mango, yes, thank you,
They
ma.
can all be blended together.
I mean, yes, you can blend them. I mean, maybe you might not like the taste of agbalumo with banana or something. That's a personal preference. you can eat it. Do you understand? Blending is just for people who maybe they don't want to eat it or they just feel like I want something to drink instead. You can blend it too.
Thank you for transforming me.
Yeah, you're welcome, ma. Any fruit you like, just, eat it or blend it together if that's what you want to. Okay, that will be the last question. Thank you, ma.
Yes, this is just a quick question. Like, can someone have, like, too much corn, like corn in a cob? Like, can it be too much?
Yes.
Okay, because I've heard it's empty calories.
Okay, thank you. I like that question. So there are different types of vegetables. There are some that we call the non-starchy vegetables. Those are the ones that you can eat anyhow, so to say. Think about spinach or cucumbers or all those ones. You can, you wouldn't eat it anyhow too because you get tired at some point, but you can eat as much as you want. But when you think about things, other vegetables like corn, like maybe some sweet peas or something, they are a little sweet. So they are starchy vegetables. They are vegetables, but they give you some calories too. Do you understand? So you can't just sit down and maybe finish like 10 corn on the cob. No, that's like you've eaten maybe your meal, if that's maybe the meal for the day. Do you understand? Or the meal for that time. You might have gotten the whole calories from that. Of course, moderation is still important, but corn is definitely has more fiber compared to what other thing was that? Maybe Irish potato that is fried or something like that. You see, because the corn, you eat it, you chew it, it has more fiber than that. So it's a starchy vegetable. Usually anything you eat and is sweet has some calories to it, so you don't want to overdo it. Did that answer the question? Okay, thank you so much, everybody. I'm grateful for the privilege. Thanks, ma.